What? Oh, what, arkveld?
It's starting in 3 seconds!
Oh my god, it is!
Yeah!
Pre-launch community updates. I mean, let's see what
Hello
this
everyone,
is
and
going to
welcome
be
the Monster Hunter
all
Wilds
about.
pre-launch community update. My
Jono,
name's
Joe,
Johnny,
Patrick,
Manager of Monster
and
Hunter.
just talking us
Everybody,
out.
I'm Joe, I'm
Awesome.
the Capcom.
This is so exciting. What are we going to find out? What's it
Oh,
going to be? What
it's great to
is
have
the
you guys.
update
Thank
for
you so
us?
much for
The
coming.
community,
Now,
that's
Joe, we've
us!
introduced our esteemed guests. We've said hello, but why are we here today?
So officially giving us all the changes we noticed in the recent press thing where a lot of them have been applied already. I wonder how long this is going to be.
徳田優です。今日はこのような場を設けていただきありがとうございます。僕はモンスターハンター G から20年間、モンスターハンターを作り続けております。今日はよろしくお願いします。
Hello everyone, I'm Yuya Tokuda, the director of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's really nice to be here with you guys today. It's a good opportunity.
No, you're Patrick. He's Tokuda, said the guy who's never heard of a translator. That's my new original joke I just came up with. Very funny, I know. It's really cool they're doing it in this like proper discussion streamy format. Like I honestly thought the feedback-based changes would be like a blog post or something and all written down, but this is just really lovely.
Which was actually running on an earlier version of the game that's different from the internal version that the team is working on. We actually mentioned that the final release will have improved performance over the open beta test. So
yeah, we've got some slides with some details coming up, but I think first of all, I really want
we
you
do have
guys to just get your
visuals.
eyes
Very
on,
nice. Oh, quematrice. I love him so much. He's such an immediately, like, quirky personality-filled monster. I know we're supposed to be focusing on the performance here, which, yes, is looking buttery smooth. I mean, of course it will in a demo video in a, you know, curated talk like this, but certainly you can tell that there is a lot better going on there. Yeah, it did certainly look smoother. Obviously, I think the big question a lot of people have is PC. I think PlayStation was mostly kind of fine anyway. There were certainly a few hiccups, but the big question mark is over PC.
Also, just one thing to confirm is that PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced support is incoming, and it'll be ready with the day one patch on release day of the title next year. That's going to enhance the graphics for
PlayStation so we are getting a day one
users.
patch.
So please stay tuned for more details on that as we get closer to launch.
But I'm already maximum stay tuned!
Beam is of course a bit more complicated. It varies greatly depending on your own personal rig, your hardware, and the settings you have set up. But we are working on improving the performance of that too. And
that's what we want to hear.
Frame rate and other performance you can expect from the same equipment you might have used in the OBT will be improved for the full version of the game.
Okay, well that is music to, I'm sure, many people's ears, and if they follow through from that, and there's no reason to think that they won't, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy, because I think a lot of people are scrambling to either upgrade the computer or full on that they can't just afford to go and do that for Wilds. So if what they already have certainly does handle it better, yeah, that is a huge W.
We're looking at hopefully lowering the level of the minimum recommended graphics board specs to allow more players with that level of hardware to play the game.
Okay, yeah, again, massive W if that pulls through.
I can't share more today, but again, stay tuned to our official channel.
I know lots of people that would love to play it. They tried the open beta and their computer was just like, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Tap out. Jesus Christ. As the open beta just elbow dropped their hardware.
So is there anything the team are thinking of or looking at doing to help players on PC determine if their rig will run on Monster Hunter Wilds?
Okay, that's an interesting question, because presumably the answer to that would be a second demo their beta, but they're not just going to casually like confirm that here. So maybe they will just be like a specific stress test thing that they'll do for us. I think a lot of people would benefit from a way to just definitively like load up an example of the current launch version close to the time and actually test their PC for it.
We're considering as well releasing a benchmark tool for Steam players.
Yeah, that's what you want.
How your PC hardware is going to run the game.
A benchmark tool would be phenomenal.
That's something that's still in the works.
And really good.
If that becomes finalized, again, we'll release further details.
It's still up in the
due
air.
course. So
But yeah, that would be much appreciated. But does that mean that there isn't going to be a second demo/beta? I mean, again, they're not going to say it or hint it here whether there is or isn't, and a separate benchmark tool would still be very useful. But I shouldn't read into things. This is purely a feedback and improvement stream, but I do think that's interesting.
So when it comes to making those weapons feel more weighty and impactful in terms
Well,
of
the hit stop is back in a big way for the weapons, but the friendly fire stuff is interesting, because there was a lot of confusion with articles and interviews that why would there be a duel to reduce it if they're just removing all friendly fire, but it seems like they've just removed like the big deal friendly fires, like launching with the upswing hammer, which I do think is a little bit of a shame, because it does provide some really like fun, silly moments. Yes, people can use it to grief.
Adjustments have been made to make these big moves and finishers feel more meaty, so
and that can be kind of annoying in random lobbies, but when you're playing with people you know, it can be really entertaining and a little bit strategy too, launching from mount and stuff. But clearly there is going to be still some friendly fire, which is why the shockproof duel exists. It's just less across the board and probably less severe. It might just be your longswords tripping your knees, because of course that's sacred to the core experience of Monster Hunter, thanks guys, and that's why the shockproof duel is there. And yes, that just looks so much better for the great sword, like my gog.
So that move that we just saw, the true charge slash, has also actually had its damage output increased, but even from
Hey! I thought that might happen because it was a little bit underwhelming. The fully charged version in the open beta barely had a motion value higher than A, just releasing it, and B, a fully charged middle of the combo, and it kind of weirdly adjusted where you want to be consistently in your greatsword combo. So a little bit of weight and power put back into true charge where it should be is great. And also, did you hear that? Alright, obviously we don't know the numbers, but I have a feeling that true charge might be back on top as the single most damaging attack in the game. I mean, it kind of technically still already was, but I like the definitive winner to the definitively best weapon. This is the greatest news I've had all day. You absolute saint, Takada-san!
And there was a lot of player feedback, especially outside Japan, where players felt that the game was actually too weighty.
Yeah, that's wild to me. Like, it felt perfect in World.
People were saying the Wilds OPT, everything felt a bit...
I think that's a case of them accidentally listening to a loud minority, because everyone that was satisfied and happy with the combat, well, didn't say anything. And now that majority that loved the weight and the hit stop, not seeing it in the beta, is like, whoa, hang on a minute, guys, where's the hit stop? And suddenly we're seeing the actual amount of people that love having that weight.
So, for example, the wyvern fire of the gun lance is something that we'd already toned down the effect even before the OPT started.
I guarantee there is somewhere out there, Rory, currently literally midstream watching this right now as I am, saying things as I am, who just raised some mighty eyebrows. That sentence. Yeah, it's like I can feel it, like a change in the wind.
I've got another video with me today, so if we can please show that. Then
okay, this will be fantastic. Let's actually see the extent of it.
So let's take a look.
Balahara. Okay. So it's like a knock you on your back instead of a full launch in the air. I mean, that's still like, I'm glad there is still like a, oh, god damn it, you hit me, as opposed to full launch. But like, it takes almost as long as a full launch anyway. At least a full launch, you can do an aerial attack out of it.
You know, I think, you know, with friendly fire, this is one of those changes where, you know, there's a lot of different players that a lot of different types of players that it may impact. So, Takada-san, can you talk a little bit more about the intention behind making this change?
I do think there might be like a slice here where like the gun lance, the hammer players, the upswinging charge switch axe players, you know, they're also like, oh, this is such a shame. And, you know, maybe everyone else will be like, whoo, oh, thank God. It might be very weapon-based, your reaction. Well, that's really good. I mean, universally, everyone pointed that out. Like, monsters would limp over to a zone, fight you for 30 seconds, then limp away to the point it felt like it was unintended. So this being sort of harder dressed and confirmed that yes, it'll feel more normal or at least more world-like is really, really good. On top of fast traveling everywhere.
Actual truth is that there was a bit of a bug or glitch.
Yeah, I thought it was a bug.
I would recommend when that happens in the full game that you can actually use the pop-up camp feature to its fullest. So if you're aware of where a particular monster's nest is going to be in the map, and if it's quite a distance from...
That's so scary for a limping apex. Like if Duna's slow swimming back to its nest, and it gets there, and you're already stood in the area having teleported to a nearby pop-up camp, like, ho ho ho, hello! Yay! It is really cool seeing all this stuff like officially demoed and announced and such after we were combing through press previews trying to pick out all the little individual changes to this effect. Oh!
はい、このようにまず舞踏跳躍が、追加されて
Well,
おりま
that's
す。
fun, isn't it?
That's right. Vaulting dance is back.
They've gained an offset
そっちについ
attack.
ては
Like, that is glorious. That's a huge change. Like, that's such a massive W.
方からアイデンティティとも言えるような、舞踏
Aerial attack power increases by 2 levels each time you
残
vault.
念がる声というのをたくさんいただいてましたので、OBT では間に合わなかったんですけども、製品版の方では
I do need to be careful when
追
things
加
like this
してお
come
りま
up
す。
because, having less
So this is
experience with
something I was
weapons like
actually
Insect
aware
Glaive,
of
there's always the chance
even
I'm like,
before
whoa,
the,
something that was in
feedback
World!
and open beta test,
But either way,
back at our Gamescom
offset
and
attack
Tokyo
certainly
Game Show,
wasn't, and that is
exhibitions
cool as
of,
all heck.
gameplay.
Because we're a family
We had
show, you know.
our,
To
Insect
see
Glaive
for
users,
Insect
our
Glaive.
bug rod mains complaining that the
Gaining the
vaulting
knockback
dance
negation
was
with Orange
missing,
is
and
really
it's one of
good.
the iconic moves of
And then,
that
the
particular weapon.
wind
So,
pressure tremor and
I'm
raw.
happy to confirm that vaulting dance makes its return in the full version of Monster Hunter Wilds.
That is brilliant.
そうですね、
That looks
九州
so
切りの
cool
始
as
めのところ
well.
に
Yeah, there was actually one journalist who was in Osaka for our preview last month, and they're an Insect Glaive main user, and they said that this is the best Insect Glaive ever in Monster Hunter history. So you can take that on board and look forward
Well,
to the full version.
I
of the
mean,
weapon in the
It's
final
kind of what you want to
version.
hear, isn't it? I mean, I very much feel the same about Greatsword on the whole. Though they're not the kind of most sweeping changes that I expected to say it was highlighted, but then again, I also don't really lance. So there might definitely be all 3 lance mains reading this going, woo! And, that's completely fair enough if so.
Ultimately, with the tools available, they still ended up repeating the same actions over and over again.
Imagine having fun repeating the same attack over and over again. Would never be me, Drujad Strike, my love. Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like Lance is just going to be a lot more smoother, impactful, and friendly experience, which is obviously what you want.
I've got a video for this too, so if we can run that, then you can see what I'm
Right,
talking
hit me
about.
with some lancing. Oh yeah, that's some lancing. That's some real lancing. Okay, that is so cool though. Like just the chain blocking, stabbing everything, not moving, standing your ground. Like you can see why a couple people play Lance.
Getting straight to the point, as always. So hopefully our Lance mains out there, that has put a smile on your face. And for those of you that have never tried the weapon before, hopefully that's, sparked a bit of interest for you to go check it out.
Admittedly, it kind of has. Like, it does look like, all joking aside, the Lance is a really fun weapon, and just being that rock there is so cool. Hey, knockback when using full release slash, that's really, really good. That's a big deal for the feel of the weapon, for the impact, because it's really anticlimactic otherwise. It is really cool getting all of these little tweaks. Like, this just kind of wasn't a thing in previous Monster Hunter games. Like, just this back and forth properly and doing all of this. Go on, chatacabra! Yeah! Look at him go! He actually got a hit in. I'm so proud in a demo. That's so cool. I really like the switch axe. Honestly, it really is one of my favorite weapons. God, it is satisfying. We're gonna see our, yes! And then you get hit, and it doesn't matter. Beautiful. That is exactly what you want from that. That is so good.
The switch axe are looking really great. As somebody who really likes the new moveset in Monster Hunter Wilds, these tweaks just take it to the next level. So I'm really excited about that. And maybe I'll switch to the switch axe. Sorry.
Yes, Joe!
Next up.
Seems like the whole weapon's just being tightened up in this case, then.
Yep, you guessed it. Another video for this weapon, so let's run it and see how it looks.
Bring on the sword and shield. Poor chatacabra. Every time. Like, he just doesn't deserve it. He really doesn't. But yeah, it definitely looks a lot smoother. And that's exactly what you kind of want. Honestly, this Honor Shield just looks phenomenal in Wilds. Like, I've always just been kind of, like, fine on it, but to be fair, that kind of applies to every weapon. Like, the weapons just get better and better every generation to the point that you can just have, like, any amount of instant fun, no matter what your previous main was, swapping to
my fellow Sword and Shield enjoyers, we are truly eating good in Wilds. Those changes look delicious. What can I say? And for those that haven't tried Sword and Shield yet, here's a really good excuse to give it a go. But enough of me gushing.
So I was just like going to knock on your door. Like, here's a leaflet. Have you heard about our Lord and Saviour Sword and Shield? Okay, so shifting a bit of power away from the Tracer. I mean, that makes sense because it was all about... Interesting with the Focus Strike. But I do think that's good because it means that you can choose to let loose and only hit 1 or 2 wounds, as opposed to just forcibly blow up the monster, which was really satisfying, but did feel a little bit wasteful wound-wise in some situations. I think that bow got a few specifics here, and then every other weapon is just in other weapons with just mainly numeric adjustments. Which, to be fair, is fine, because all the weapons that haven't been talked about were feeling great, and mostly did just need a couple of numeric additions, and the hit detection is really, really good too. I'm really hyped to see just how much they've juiced.
In order to do that, I don't want to lower the high values to make everything meet in the middle. I actually want to raise up the lower values to make the weapons that were feeling less powerful feel more viable and going toe-to-toe with the other weapons in the lineup. So that's kind of my approach.
Ooh, okay. I mean, it definitely looks smoother. And let's give us the... Okay. I mean, I don't mind that at all, because I think popping wounds 1 by 1 isn't inherently the worst thing in the world. There are situations where you would want to do that. So, while it might be an initial, like, burst nerf, I do think it's a utility buff.
Hunting Horn is a weapon that I myself really enjoy playing, and I think we've heard from lots of players that they find it really fun. It's a very viable main weapon. So actually the adjustments that I want to make for Monster Hunter Wilds based on the beta were about how it felt a bit too strong as a sub-weapon.
Oh, are they going to address the using it to buff your other weapon and then put it back?
It just meant that the melody effects were too overpowered and it just became too much of an obvious meta choice to have the hunting horn as a backup.
It's so interesting having Monster Hunter talked about in a bettery sense like this and balanced and so on and so forth. Because a lot of the time it's just kind of left to just do what it wants across the generations and games. But this is a really positive change, because although it was fun to pull out your horn, buff yourself up and then change to the weapon, it was really strong to the point that if you cared at all about being like efficient in your hunting, doing kind of anything else was sort of throwing. That's going to be a problem for me, because Khan will just be using a hunting horn, so, you know, best of both worlds. At least, I imagine he's gonna. He might end up favouring the hammer, because it's also phenomenal with Mighty Swing. I'm actually really curious what weapon he's going to settle on in Wilds.
Being adjusted so that when you change back to your other weapon, it's not going to hang around for as long whenever you've got the buff applied to other
Okay, so
players.
it's still going to be there a little bit, just taper faster.
In respect on the weapon, for those that main it and are proud of the
yeah, and that's actually a really good point, because anyone who does main hunting horn is like, okay, great, I guess I'm going to use a second hunting horn to buff my first hunting horn, and just kind of devalues your weapton as a buff stick, which I guess was a thing for a while in Monster history. I was literally saying recently in the discussion, like less than a week ago, I think, that finding out some actual info on like the skills and how everything's going to work would be really, really useful. Then again, I might be overestimating what we're actually about to be told here, but we'll find out. Oh, no, okay, here we go. One of those mystery trees, one of those question mark trees. I mean, that's a sleep weapon in one of the mystery trees, that then leads into a water weapon. So maybe the water is like the start of the duna tree, but what would be sleepy?
Skill build on your armor would be completely wasted and be for naught whenever you change weapon. Suddenly all of those skills get on your armor.
See, this is something I really do think is an interesting bit about Wilds, because I still think most people will just use their main weapon, and having less skills for it because of this ethos, which in a vacuum I get and is admirable, I think might cause some friction.
One question I had is, well, what happens when weapons are upgraded? Do these skills disappear, or what happens with them?
And also, what is going to be the volume of offensive skills? If they're tied to weapons, surely we're not going to be swimming with them, which means we're going to be like 80% utility from armor and 20% offensive from weapon, right? Skill
So
set.
as you can see here on this screenshot, the Hope Blade 2, in the equipment info panel, you can see that it's got the speed sharpening equipment skill on it. When you upgrade that, it changes to a different weapon, and I think we have a second screenshot prepared, which we can switch to now.
Ah, so it does just acquire skills as you go up through the tree. And Critical Eye is only a 5-rank skill now. I think it's possible, though, that ironically wanting to free up armor choice to be more utility-based, so it doesn't matter too much what you're selecting, it might lock in weapon choice as a cost. And we might just end up only using the weapon that has the best skill loadout for us. But I mean, it's still way too early to tell, and I do think this is a fun new direction, and I'm really excited to test it out. I'm so excited to theory craft and build for you guys, get my great sword sets going. Oh!
Many hunters using shielded weapons pull in the biggest frowns as they guard it against the wrath of monsters. Like kind of face. Now, you know,
the angry block face. I can't believe they're actually talking about that. That's so great. But yeah, weapon-wise then, so presumably we're going to start with, like, say, the Hope Blade 1. You fully upgrade to the end of the tree. It's now gained, like, Crit Eye 4, Speed Sharpening 2, Weakness Exploit 1. It's got 3 decoration slots. You finish Crit Eye and Weakness Exploit, maybe add in, like, a Crit Boost, and then that's, like, your offensive package, which is really interesting in a vacuum, but it is a lot less skills. But I also think that's really too bad, because we were just drowning in them in the end of Sunbreak and Iceborne. So having, like, a condensed most valuable offensive skill package on your weapon, and then a larger, more variable comfort support on your armor that actually lets you fashion is a really interesting direction, and I think that's got a lot of potential.
there comes a lot of chatter, a lot of stickers, and if
Oh yes, the constant spam on the right
and things like that. You know, so for those of us that might want a slightly more relaxed public multiplayer experience around.
I love how he's phrasing everything and handling it. So this is why he's the community manager. All right, both him and Joe, very good at what they do.
Is there going to be another open beta test?
Oh, that's a big casual. I think it might. Maybe they will just casually confirm it. Oh, immediately Ryozo comes up.
We are considering if we will bring back the open beta test.
Okay, so not confirmed either way, considering.
To make clear that would surely be essentially another chance for players who missed it the first time around to get a chance to try the game again, and we might maybe be able to add a couple of additional options here or there for people to try out. It wouldn't be something where all the various detailed weapon adjustments we've discussed today would be included.
Okay, so they at most could just run the exact same thing again. That's really interesting. So it's a maybe, and even if it's a yes, it's basically just what we had with some minor tweaks again. Does that completely rule out like a very close to launch like proper demo though on the actual version? If this keeps up, that means like we're not going to get like arkveld as a hunt previous to the game like we have with the flagships and all the other games, which I am all for. And that also explains why the benchmark test is a thing that they're considering, because without it, there really isn't a way to know, as the only other option is a beta again, but still running on the same build as the last beta for the most part. That's so interesting. Obviously things can change, and we are talking about specifically a open beta, not a demo, and they are two distinct things. But I guess I would kind of put my money on
something. It's not so much new information, but I want to have the chance to clarify and maybe
not
having another playable version until launch.
I just want to thank everybody out there for sharing their feedback. I know we say a lot that we are listening, and hopefully you guys feel that way after seeing all the updates.
I mean, yeah,
here. And
it's really refreshingly cool seeing so much positive change and consideration over just a couple-day beta.
I know you're super busy.
Because normally they do turn into glorified demos,
the game ready for launch, so we very much appreciate it. And like to,
I mean, overall, this whole thing is a big Capcom Monster Hunter W. I'm gonna join in. I'm gonna join in, guys. I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it.
I'll do the countdown. All right, ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Happy hunting!
Woo! Yeah!
Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. Well, that was lovely. A huge W.
Let's get kind of line a little bit.
Okay.
And I hope you've enjoyed this.
3,
Oh, we're getting a second one.
1.
Happy hunting! It is the law. You have to do that every time it comes up, and you all better have done that at home. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this more casual sort of reacting to it, digesting it as we go through it from me. It's been a lot of fun to do, and a long one, my God! We will, of course, do a much more detailed, condensed everything that goes easily missed and any external information in due course, but for now, yeah, a lot of positive changes, a lot of good stuff to come. No Second Bait is a little bit of a, but I do understand the thought process, and there's still, you never know. In any case, though, great sword back on top, game looking incredible, can't wait for February. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe to the bell for more, consider supporting the future channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.